We live in a world ruled by tyranny, where knowledge is suppressed and ignorance is glorified. A world where propaganda and misinformation travel the airways at the speed of lies. But in the midst of the violence and chaos, a great awakening is taking place. And as the media empires continue to collapse, a new network is forming. A network of truth, a network of courage, a network of awareness. Peace and greetings. You are now tuned into the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, where we examine current events, politics, health, finance, and topics of cultural relevance in America and throughout the world, while bringing you insightful interviews with guests that will both educate and inspire you. And now, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, ORRA the Informationalist.
Nothing like this.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
My aura is a network full of awareness and gifts like ORRA, the informationalist.
How you doing?
Peace and greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. You're now tuned in to a live broadcast of the Network of Awareness. I'm your host, owner, and founder, ORRA the Informationalist. And today we got a great live show. It's a bonus episode before we start season 6. And this bonus episode on Wisdom Wednesday is Abundantly Aware. Now, I am streaming on social media sites that maybe I'm going to start paying more attention to, because I've been getting some coaching on paying more attention to growing my social media platforms. But I must say that I could really give a rat's ass about Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But I understand the concept of growing the platform and getting more people aware, right? Because we're going to talk about awareness today, but getting more people aware that this podcast exists. And fortunately, there is a platform named YouTube that gives that opportunity. Unfortunately, I really don't care for a platform like YouTube, but I understand why it's important, because most people gravitate to this type of platform, especially when it comes to free, right? YouTube has really become a major pillar in where people get their information from. So I understand that concept. But I'm not going to say that I like it, but I understand the purpose of it. So we will be focusing more on growing these channels on Facebook and on YouTube and Twitter. But at the end of the day, I always say, tune in to your favorite podcast platform, because that's where you're going to always be able to hear the information regardless of whatever happens. So if I get canceled or an episode gets flagged and gets pulled on YouTube, it's not going to be pulled on Spreaker. It's not going to be pulled on Apple. It's not going to be pulled on Spotify. Well, maybe on Spotify. Sometimes that does happen. But for the most part, you'll be able to always gain access to the audio wherever podcasts are played. Now, today's episode is Abundantly Aware for Wisdom Wednesday. And what I'm going to talk about is going in depth about how awareness and abundance go hand in hand. And we're going to take a look and examine how the two go hand in hand when it comes to humanity's personal realities. Because everything is based on perception. And because everything is based on perception, everyone has their personal reality. Everybody's living their own reality and how they perceive it. No matter how much the powers that shouldn't be manipulate a reality for us to live, it is based on our perceptions on whether we choose to live it or not. But the reason why I'm doing this episode is because I want people to understand why it's so important to have the attitude of gratitude and to be abundantly aware of this beautiful experience called life as the spiritual being coming from the great creator, the Most High, to be in this physical body and what that all means. And to be abundantly aware of the gifts that have been given, to be abundantly aware of all the blessings, and to be abundantly aware of things to come, things that are happening, and things that have passed. And to always be present within your awareness. So with that being said, welcome to the Network of Awareness, and I'll be right back.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
So welcome, folks. And let me take this reverb off my voice here. That's what I forgot to do here. And let's take care of that real quick here. All right. Okay, cool. So I hope you enjoyed that introduction, but that's what we're going to talk about today. It's been a while. It's been since Friday since I did a live episode. I did the Power Vibrations. I played a lot of music. I'm going to play some music today. But also I'm going to talk about this awareness and abundance, because when you live a life of abundance and you are aware of the abundance of life that the Most High gives us, that our great creator of all that is and ever will be gives us, you start to live a life that no matter what happens, you know that even when it's bad, it's still all good. But some of us don't live like that, because the opposite of abundance is scarcity. The opposite of awareness is ignorance. Now, with all that being said, I'm not going to focus on ignorance and I'm not going to focus on scarcity, because I don't even really want to plant that seed in your mind. I want to plant this seed of abundance and awareness so that you could be abundantly aware of everything that you're experiencing that is meaningful, that you may be missing out on, that's staring you right in front of your face, but you're too ignorant and you're thinking too much in lack, that because you focus on lack, you're going to keep repeating that which you lack. You're going to keep living a life of scarcity. And I've been in this situation. I was in this situation 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I was really deep in that situation where it was the woe is me mentality. And I was thinking in lack. And that's what I kept repeating and getting. You know, I was watching this special on Prime, and it was about these bull riders, and they have this like tournament that they started doing like the NFL. They get drafted and they have these series of games, and then there's a point system. Whoever wins the most games gets ranked for the finals of where they go head to head to get to the championship belt or prize, which in their case, the championship trophy was a big, big belt buckle. Now, the reason I bring this episode up, because there was one writer in particular that really stood out to me when it comes to the lack and scarcity and having the wrong mindset. And it was a guy that was in his 30s, which is considered old in the bull riding industry, sport. Um, but this guy, is crazy because after he was a good writer, but once he started falling off the bull and not scoring, he kept getting upset about it. And no matter how much the manager, the coach, the owner, his fellow bull riding teammates was telling him to get his head out his ass, he wanted to be ignorant, he wanted to be stubborn and keep his mind there. And what happened? He kept falling off. And then not only did he keep falling off, but he fell off when it mattered the most. And he wasn't seeing all of the abundance that was around him in his family. He had a clue because there was another rider who lost his daughter to type 2 or type 1 diabetes. She had some type of brain defect or some type of illness that fell upon her. It was real sad. And that dude came back from that loss of losing his daughter, I mean, and still rode well, still maintain a level of excellence in what he loved to do. And this guy even saw it. He was like, I'm over here bitching and complaining about me not riding well. And I'm staying in that mindset. And here, this guy just lost his daughter and still can come out here and perform well. So what do I have to complain for? And I thought that he was going to make a breakthrough having that understanding. But no, it's that nonsense where we allow the shortcomings to get the best of us because we're not aware. We're not aware of the abundance. And if we're not aware of the abundance, then we are aware of the lack. And we focus on that. And that's what we keep getting more and more of. Now, there's a couple things I want to go over. Let's go over the word abundance, right? Real quick. A very large quantity of something. A bid which a player undertakes to make 9 or more tricks. So that doesn't mean anything. But what I find interesting is this it says, what is the true meaning of abundance? To have an abundance of something is to have more than you need. It's often used to describe positive qualities such as an abundance of love. Abundance is the opposite of scarcity. Abundance of wealth, a ton of cash. But in reality, when we have an abundance of awareness, there's never too much of an abundance of awareness that you can have or need, because that is everlasting. You want to have an infinite amount of awareness while in these bodies and experiencing this thing called life. Period. It's never too much of anything when it comes to awareness. It's either you got it and you keep getting it and getting it until you leave this body. So to be abundantly aware is the best course of action and the best mindset to have when living this life. Because the moment you get out of that frame of thinking, all of the lack and the scarcity starts to creep in and you get more of that. And more of that means you're getting more of limitations and doubts and lack of truly being fulfilled and truly serving your greater purpose in life, because we all have a purpose in this life. But many people don't live in an abundance of awareness. Now let's look up the word awareness. Now I'm going to go over 3 types of awarenesses. But what I want to read is this because I found this to be interesting. The Latin meaning, the root Latin word of meaning to be aware, is the hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by the Latin verb to observe with awe, revere, respect, fear. The Greek euros, a guard watchman, horan, to see. Okay. Old English is a guarding, protection, watchman, sentry, keeper. So it says, what is awareness based on? Meaning of awareness in English is knowledge that something exists, the understanding of a situation or a subject at the present, and I'm going to repeat that, at the present time based on information or experience. And I think that when it comes to the network of awareness, that's a great definition of what we're doing here. We are present in the time based on the information and the experience of what is being given. Public awareness of the problem will make, oh, forget about that. That's talking about politicians. Let's go to another thing that I looked up here in regards to awareness. It says its roots are Germanic. Now, when you look at these things, roots Germanic and all that, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay. But the meaning from Old English and Germanic culture in the way awareness is described is wary and cautious. Awareness can be something you notice, want to tell others about, or already know. And see, that's the thing. When you are aware of the light and that spirit that comes from the great creator of that which is and always will be, the Most High, which doesn't even need a name, right? Because the Most High is a force. The more, if we was to describe the Most High, it's a force of energy, and this is from my opinion. It's a force of energy that you can only begin to understand. The Most High doesn't have a gender. The Most High is not a man. The Most High is not a woman. The Most High is something, it's a force of energy you can only begin to understand. The Most High is awareness within you. It is that spiritual light. It is that knowing of your true existence that in the physical, with these things called our brains, which are the broadcasting stations, and through our experiences, we only get to experience that awareness that is. And that's what life is all about. It's about getting a better understanding in a form where it can be experienced, which is these bodies. The human experience is so that awareness can be understood and revealed and experienced, because that is the only way it can be experienced. Because once you leave this body, you're one with everything that is and ever will be. That's how it works. But what about being aware on a consistent basis of that which you are, which is that spiritual being having a physical experience all the time, no matter what happens? Because as we all know, life brings us a lot of challenges. Life brings us challenges from a certain perspective that someone would look like, if you look at the movies Rocky, where he's always talking about life is always going to knock you down, but you got to get back up. And that's what awareness is. Awareness is the understanding that nothing can truly keep you down unless you allow it to be. And the only time you allow that to be is when you lack the understanding of that which is and always will be within you. Is when you start looking for the light at the end of the tunnel instead of looking at the light within yourself. Once you stop looking at the light within yourself, you miss out on everything that's meaningful, and you get caught in down, you go down a long rabbit hole of confusion, despair, and misunderstanding. That's it. And it's really simple. And either you abundantly aware or you're not. And this episode might go over a lot of people's heads because they don't see themselves as a spiritual being having a physical experience. They just don't. And it is what it is. I mean, if that's the case, then so be it. That's their loss. That's a them problem, not a you problem. And the reason why I'm focusing on this so much, because it's not only important for me to send this message out and to give this message as a messenger, but it's important for me to live this, because there's been times where I've been unaware of the abundance of infinite love that the Most High has blessed me with. How I've been taken care of, even at times where, looking back on it, I would perceive, or even somebody else could perceive, like maybe you shouldn't have been taken care of. Maybe the Most High shouldn't have been looking out for you. But yet, the Most High always does. And that's why your belief system has to go beyond belief. Belief is a stepping stone. It's just as much as a stepping stone as hope. You know, I wrote a poem a long time ago. Hope is the path to faith. Faith is the doorway to knowing. Knowing is the is oh, excuse me, let me repeat that. It says hope is the path to faith. Faith is the gateway to knowing. Knowing is the doorway to love. And love is the experience of this infinite truth that comes from the great creator of all that is and ever will be. Period. And that came to me in some people would call it epiphany. It's just one day I wrote it down and it made sense to me. And just like any other person or prophet or messenger or anybody that gets great revelation, it's all there for the taking. It's all there to be received and to be utilized while in these bodies. It's an infinite stream of information that comes from a great, great, great source of energy that doesn't require a name. How can we give something a name that we come from? That's like me or you giving our parents a name. How can I name my father? How can I name my mother when they existed here before I did? Doesn't make sense. But yet we do that. We like to deify things. But some things, especially when it comes to that which is and always will be, how can you give that which you come from a name, a label, a title? It's irresponsible to do that. The more responsible thing is to gain the understanding of the experience that you are allowed to live, the experience of that source of power and energy and infinite wisdom has given you to experience. The focus is on getting right with the experience and understanding what the experience is meant for, period. Now, let's talk about different states of awareness. And there's a couple that I want to examine here. There's peripheral awareness, there is sensory awareness, and then there's my favorite, my very favorite of all, self awareness. So, why don't we do this? Why don't we start off with peripheral? You ever heard that? I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are going to be listening, you ever heard that statement? I could see you within my peripherals, yo. I could see you within my peripherals. Well, let's take a look at peripheral awareness. Peripheral awareness is the ability to see objects and moving targets that are not in your central line of vision. This is an important visual skill for athletes to have because they need to be aware of everything around them. Well, this is not an important skill for athletes to have. This is an important skill for everybody and their mama to have. We all need to be aware of what is not in our central line of vision. We have to be not just aware of this, but we have to be aware of all of this. And it's better to be aware of everything than to just be aware of what's here. But you see, especially where I grew up, and where I grew up, where many of you grew up that listen to the show, we all grew up in the United Shenanigans of America. And in the United Shenanigans of America, it's all about this. Like when you see the horses, when they got those things covering their eyes so they get that tunnel vision, that's how a lot of people are here. And we're seeing it more and more in abundance of ignorance as how people have these tunnel visions towards meaningless things and towards believing and embracing a long legacy of lies. And there's only a few of us that have taken down the blinders and are seeing things for what they truly are. And those are the people that are not going with the norm. And if you're one of those people, you should give yourself a pat on the back and feel really good about yourself. And not in a cocky, arrogant way, but in a meaningful way that you're truly having a meaningful experience instead of believing half, if not all, the bullshit that you get fed and you accept that as your reality. This is an important skill to have. It's important to have peripheral awareness when it comes to life, when it comes to the games that people play, especially when it comes to medicine, all right? Especially when it comes to the global empire of politics, being those politics, those bloodsuckers, and when it comes to spirituality and those people that tell you, hey, this is what it is, and that's all that it is, but have no proof of that which is. They're just telling you that that's what you need to believe in, and that's it. You know, when the only true proof that you're going to be able to find is through that which is and always will be, which is that light within you. Now, what is an example? Or it says, how do you train? And what is peripheral? Why is peripheral awareness important? Well, let's take a look at it. It says it allows you to see objects all around you without moving your eyes or turning your head. Sounds like having spiritual awareness, right? Which we'll get to about self-awareness. But it's knowing and having a more in-depth perception of your reality without really having to use these eyes, but having to use the vision that allows the eyes to see in the first place. Is knowing where that comes from and being one with that instead of thinking that it's these things that are in your sockets. Those are just vessels. Those are just channel for the vision to come through. And I hope that this is making sense. I hope this is making sense for a lot of people because sometimes we take for granted of that which we are abundantly having access to, and that this awareness that we're utilizing, we're not really utilizing it to the best capacity or to the fullest potential, which is really the potential is unlimited. But some of us have this tunnel vision where we just focus on trivial, meaningless, frivolous things instead of really truly experiencing everything that is. So we don't get caught up in the meaningless things to where we start thinking that our life is meaningless. Our life doesn't have great purpose. And what is another word for that or another state of being? Hopelessness. It's time to go beyond hope. It's time to go beyond belief. It's time to go beyond faith and start having a knowing. You know, I had a conversation with several people throughout my life, and when when the scripture talks about faith is the things that that you believe in that have yet to be seen, but I'm like, oh no, not for me. My faith is already past that stage. My faith is a knowing. I know that the Most High is real. I know it. There's nothing that's going to prove to me that it doesn't exist because it's something that I experience every single day. I know that the light and of that great purpose that's within me and all around me, because that's what season 6 is going to be all about. Season 6 is going to cover a lot of information. And by the way, speaking about season 6, just on a side note, like I said, season 6 is the light within you and all around you. And I have a date for when season 6 is going to be released. So, brothers and sisters, there's going to be a lot of promotion in the very near future for season 6 that's going to drop July 1st. All right. So you heard it here. July 1st, the light within you is all around you. Is the light is within you and all around you is going to start on July 1st. Looking forward to it. I hope you are too. So let's now let's look at what psychology is in regards to when it comes to peripheral view, because this is something I saw here that I found interesting. It says peripheral vision is what we see out of the corner of our eyes, right? So that's why people say, I saw you coming through my peripheral. It says this type of vision is very sensitive to motion. So it helps us detect movement in our environment and locate objects in space. That statement right there seems very simple when you think about how you can see people to the side of you or see things happening. but it's actually a lot deeper when it comes to spirituality and this meaning of life. Now, with all that being said, let's move on to the next one. The next one is sensory awareness. Now, what's interesting about the five senses is that you've had speakers and messengers talk about how many of us are locked in or imprisoned based on our level of perception and on how much DNA we use and how much we use of our brains, which commonly most human beings can't use more than 10% of their brain. So there's 90% that we're not accessing. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're tied in to these five senses. And let me see if I can remember what they are. There's the sense of touch, right? There's the sense of taste. There is the sense of hearing. There is the sense of vision. And what is the fifth sense? And just give me a second here because even I forget sometimes. But I know that there's more, right? There's the sixth sense. Yeah, when a lot of people tap into that, they do some amazing things or can be in awareness of amazing things. So let me look that up real quick because I think I'm missing one. What is the five senses? Let's see what the five senses are. Okay, so sight, hearing, touch. Okay, touch. I mean taste. That's the one that I was missing. So we have the sense of taste, right? We could taste things, and whatever we taste, it sends signals to the brain, and we interpret it as something. It's like I taste an orange, it tastes like an orange. I taste a strawberry, it tastes like a strawberry, right? But if I taste something that tastes like shit, it tastes like shit. So those are the five senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. That's another one, smell. So what we smell is a sense. But in reality, there are way more senses within the human body that we're not accessing. And when we just go beyond that, we do some amazing things. So let's talk about sensory awareness on the network of awareness here. Sensory awareness is the direct focus on some specific sensory aspect of the body or outer or inner environment. Sensory awareness is not merely responding to the characteristics of the environment, but to be engaging in sensory awareness, you must be paying particular attention to some sensory aspect. Now, what is an example of that? So let's ask the good old people at Google, right? It says noticing your breathing pattern. This is something that Brother Abban and I covered, right? Where when it comes to mirroring has a form of sensory awareness that you have to be in tune with in order to mimic and manipulate a situation to work in your favor. So they talked about this, that when you're interviewing with somebody, right? You're in a job interview. Now, this is not something that I would do, but there are people who do this, right? Especially people that are really looking to manipulate, like your narcissists, that are looking to get over and, wreak havoc in your life. But it talks about being one with the breathing pattern of another. So mimicking the breathing patterns so that you are in coincidence and parallel to mimicking the same type of energy to get somebody to feel comfortable with you, to get somebody to somewhat embrace you and feel more comfortable around you so they can be more accepting of you. So it says noticing your breathing pattern, observing your heart rate, taking notice of muscles where you typically hold tension, back, neck, jaw, etc. Observing your gait and sensations of walking. So this is a very important thing when it comes to, having that self-awareness. So it says, how can we prove sensory awareness? Let's take a look at it. It has 8 things here. It says, see things from a new angle. Very important. It's always good to see things from a new angle. And see, this goes back. See, the reason why I'm doing this all ties into that being abundantly aware. Because when you start seeing things from a different angle using your sensory awareness, now you start to see that, hey, maybe this angle or the way I'm looking at this situation is not the right way to look at it. Maybe the way I'm looking at it is the reason why it's not working. Well, let me shift to another angle. Let me shift 45 degrees and look at this situation from a whole different angle. And maybe I might see something completely different about that which I'm experiencing. Another way to practice and improve your sensory awareness is to go for sightseeing walks. And that's where you get to improve your level of depth within your perception. It says, listen like you've never listened before. Well, what does that mean? That means be present, be truly immersed in the experience that you're having at the moment. That's all that's saying in another way. It's not saying anything else but that. And don't we talk about that here for the past 500 plus episodes? It's all about that. It's about listening like you never listened before. And then when you speak, your speech and the things you say are going to be that much more meaningful because you took the time to listen like you never listened before. And you're going to take a pause before you speak and really meditate on what you want to say so that whatever is being said is truly heard by whoever is being said to. Be mindful listener, right? So that's just going back to number 3, being a mindful listener, right? That goes into actual empathy too. Being a mindful listener is having empathy. And we've talked about it plenty of times here. In a narcissistic society, which most people are narcissistic because we have this idol worship, this loving of self to the degree where we think we're gods. We become our own God. We worship ourselves. So you don't want to be in that mindset. You want to be a mindful listener so that you can have empathy. Wash your hands with awareness. Love that right there. That's number 5. Wash your hands with awareness. Cleanse your mind with awareness. Give yourself a mini massage. And I understand the concept of that, and that's what they're really saying. Give yourself a mini massage, because sometimes you may not have somebody to give you a massage, but just that self-love is a way, giving yourself self-love and really appreciating that which you are, and which goes back to being abundantly aware, is how you improve that sensory awareness when it comes to the body. Appreciate your body. Appreciate the hands that you get to use. There's people out there that don't got arms, they don't got hands, they don't got feet, they don't got legs, and they're still making it happen. So what's your excuse? Number 7, inhale aromas with appreciation. And I would even take it a little further. Not just aromas, right? Don't just inhale that, that sirloin T-bone steak, or those what do you call it? Those waffle fries from from Chick-fil-A. Whatever the aroma is coming from, don't just inhale that with appreciation, but inhale the spirit. Inhale that spirit of the Most High. Inhale that. Take it all in. Appreciate it for what it is. And take it all in, because guess what? When it comes to oxygen, that's in abundance, right? You can never have too much oxygen. It's either you got it or you don't. And I like to believe that living on this planet, we always have oxygen, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to live. So suck it all in, and suck it all in with a great amount of appreciation, which also equals gratitude, right? Last but not least, it says, let your favorite sense linger. That's number 8. Let your favorite sense linger. And I think there's 10 of them. Let's look at what the last 2 are here. It says, have a mindful meal, sip with your senses. Okay. So, yeah. It says have a mindful meal. And what it means by have a mindful meal, and this is something that I came across in my studies in my late 20s. And Bob Proctor talked about this, and a couple of other life coaches talked about this. It's about sometimes when we're eating our food, we're not consciously aware of what we're eating. We're just eating, like we're thinking about something else, and we're just stuffing our faces, not even really appreciating the meal that we're getting to have. We're not appreciating the substance that we're filling our bodies with to have some form of nutrition. And a lot of times when we are being present with our meals, that meal becomes way more fulfilling. And this is something that I've practiced and I still practice to this day because it's so important. A lot of times you have to block out all the other thoughts and all these other things you're thinking about when you're eating and just really fully be immersed in the meal that you've been allowed to eat. And I guarantee you, the more mindful you are of what you eat, not just what you're putting in your body, right? Which that's important too, but when you're actually in the process of chewing and eating and swallowing and tasting, it's very important to be a mindful eater of the meal that you're eating. So yes, that is a way that you improve your sensory awareness. So sensory awareness, highly important, people. Highly important, right? These are the reasons why we need to be abundantly aware. Now, last but not least, this is something we've talked about a lot on the network of awareness, but let's cover it, a little bit more. So, self-awareness, right? Because that's what this show is all about. It's about being self-aware of the light that's within you, not at the light at the end of the tunnel, but the light that's within you. So what does it say? Self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do or don't align align with your internal standards. Self-awareness is highly important because depending on how self-aware you are will determine on what you're capable of doing, whether you're capable of fulfilling on a continuous basis your potential as the spiritual being having the physical experience or not. It's very cut and dry. What is self-awareness and an example? Okay, the ability to monitor our inner world, whereas others label it as a temporary state of self consciousness. Still, others describe it as the difference between how we see ourselves and how others see us. But you see, how you see yourself is how other people will see you. It's when you start caring about what other people think about you, is where you get it all messed up. That's why it's important to be aware of who you are without having any desire or care for what other people think about you. Because as long as you are self-aware and you're not hindering anybody else's life, what is the point of even caring about what other people think about you? If you are being an example and in fulfilling your true potential as the spiritual being having a physical experience, that's all you need to focus on. And something that my father said to me a long time ago that some of you have heard me talk about in this show, it's like, don't talk about what you're going to do, just do it. Because once it's done, you don't got to say shit. Everybody else is going to talk about what you already did. So let them do the talking and you do the living, and vice versa. That's how we should all be with one another. We should love one another and be one with who we are and what our purpose are, so we can all congratulate each other instead of us constantly trying to congratulate ourselves or looking for that validation, right? Because that's what narcissists do. They're so insecure that they're constantly seeking validation from others, so they live an unauthentic life, and they only bring that misery through that energetic field that they're conveying to other people's lives. And other people, for the most part, see that nonsense and look at them like they got a demon on them, which most of the time they do. They just got a bad, wicked spirit on them. So it says self-awareness is the ability to tune into your feelings, thoughts, and actions. Being self-aware also means being able to recognize how other people see you. But you see, if you are truly self-aware, you're going to recognize that if you're living in a manner that is righteous, then other people are going to recognize that. Now you're going to have some haters, but the only reason you have haters is to let you know you're doing the right things. So you got to appreciate those people too. But don't get caught up in why they hate you. Especially most of the time, most people that hate on other people don't even know them. They haven't even spent time with them to know even why they hate them. All right. That's just a fact. And I'm not going to get off in different tangents about that because that could go into a whole nother subject. But the reality is to be self aware, is to be aware of the abundance, to be abundantly aware of you being the spiritual being that is the light that's within you, that's connected to everything around you, that's connected to all the light around you. Because this is all energy coming into physicality. This is all manifestations constantly manifesting itself in the present moment. Wonderful thing. Um, so let's take a break. I think I've said a lot, and some people may sometimes some people need to really just kind of digest and meditate on what's been said. And I feel like that's what we should do right now. Just meditate on some of those things that I brought out about awareness, and let's play some music to even bring more awareness when it comes to the power of vibration and frequencies, and how music can elevate your state of awareness, or it can devalue your sense of awareness, right? And the powers that shouldn't be know that, because a lot of this music that's out here, I just saw on a news segment that I was passing by that Nicki Minaj is putting out another album, and she hasn't put out an album in 5 years. And I was like, damn, she should have not put her album out for another 5 years. Who the hell wants to see Nicki Minaj put out an album? I know I don't. I know I'm not going to get any value from that music. But when it comes to spiritual and self-awareness, music plays a big part, because music tunes in to that light and that vibration that's within you, that is constantly manifesting itself through that higher force of energy, which is the Most High. All right. So let's take a quick break, and I'm gonna be right back, people. All right. You're now tuned into the Network of Awareness. Let's go. And let me see what backdrop. I'm gonna put a quick backdrop on here that I haven't put up for a while. I'm trying to see which one I want to put up. Let's put up the backdrop of the star, right? Yeah, here we go. That's what we are. We're infinite possibility, baby. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
Here's a banger y'all haven't heard in a while. This is called Brass Breastplate. Armor up, brothers and sisters. Let's go. Oh, I feel another banger coming on for this Wisdom Wednesday. Let's go. This is called Red Rider from our brother Demon Slayer, aka Brother Julian. Let's go.
Call the Red Rider. The sword is all we know. Call the Red Rider. Your
Let's go.
mercy's all I have. Call the Red Rider. The promises are on the way. Call the Red Rider. It's far from heaven. Call the Red Rider. The sword is all we know. Call the Red Rider. Your mercy's all that I have. Call the Red Rider. The promises are on the way.
Call the Red Rider.
Call the Red Rider. Call the red horse and he stand on a mount. Sword in his hand, blood all over his garment. I heard the second beast and he said, come and see. Open up that second seal, Christ is giving power. All glory to Abba. And he wield a great sword, cutting down the wicked and he burned them to the floor. I just pray for mercy cause I only fear the Lord. And I'm keeping on my armor cause the devil waging war. Almost got bit by that serpent and now I move with purpose. Ruach in my belly and I'll never be thirsty. Flow like living water. Messiah got me surfing. Gotta keep my balance. I'm living for your purpose. Repent and seek the kingdom. I know I don't deserve it. I'm looking at myself. Sometimes I see a broken purse. Abba heal me from my wounds. I'm in the middle of the furnace. Purge me from iniquity. Just want to be a servant. The Red Rider sharpening his sword for battle. Double-edged demons don't have no escape. He looking straight down, waiting on the Father. When he give the green light, sky break. Angels coming, fire coming, brimstone. They got nowhere else to run, else to go. 144, sent to hunt the enemy. While I have grace, I'ma kill the enemy. I'm looking deep every day and I see my scars. Abba help me through it all, I'm feeling real supercharged. Messiah the Lamb, but he roared like a lion. Heal my infirmities, now my spirit is flying. It's the Red Rider. It's the Red Rider. He's the Red Rider. On the red horse, he's the Red Rider. He's Messiah. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon, to take peace from earth, and that they should kill one another. There was given unto him a great sword. Hallelujah. Abba, Christ.
When the boy was born, Little did he know that he was destined for a path of righteousness.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
Knocked on our door. So the Lord saw something in you, something that he can develop and make stronger, something that he can use for the greater good. All praise Yahweh. Born in 98, every single step taken has led me to this time and date. Nothing is a coincidence, everything's for a reason. I was at a park before even knowing what a mission meant. Flashbacks from the past, still remember that one day cut in class. My old homies told me what it takes to be famous. I was like, damn, you gotta sell your soul to Satan? I was enthusiastic, couldn't stop asking questions. I wanted to know as much as I can, but truth is a journey, and from that day forward, nothing was the same in my life. And hindsight shows me that y'all always had me, I never knew it. Suddenly truth came in my life, became a student. Truth is like a language, I become more fluent, and in doing so, my life has become more congruent. But consuming it was bittersweet. It's a fact, Ecclesiastes says wisdom comes with grief. But what's truth without the pain? No pain, no gain. To be strong, that you gotta let the muscles sing. Many moons, many suns, add them all up, you're just the sum. Everything you've been through turns you what you're into. Look at the soldier you've become. Can't anything stop you, Yah's got you. The only thing that matters is keeping your faith. But the battle ain't done, it's just begun. He's put you to the test and you're the sum. Every moment, every breath, every tear, every last bit of sweat, every laugh, every smile. It's all the accumulation of my style. All the I love yous, all the I hate yous. To every little mistake I made, I thank you. Because of you, I'm stronger and calmer, more mindful of karma. My thoughts are cognizant of what'll happen in the long run. We're all fearfully and wonderfully made. People will either love you or treat you with hate. If they hated the Messiah, Yahweh, then Yahweh. What makes you think that you will escape the rain? All in all, life's an infinite puzzle. Think of every day as a new piece to it. Put all the pieces together and show enough, you finally realize that you ain't nothing but the song. Many moons, many suns, add them all up, you're just the sum. Everything you've been through turns you what you're into. Look at the soldier you've become. Can't anything stop you, Yah's got you. The only thing that matters is keeping your faith. But the battle ain't done, it's just begun. He's put you to the test and you're the sum. Even though he still has much to learn and much life to live, the wisdom that the Lord has blessed him with allows him to thrive and surpass obstacles he couldn't have dared overcome in the past. But here he is, still standing strong. All praise Yahweh.
America, America.
ORRA, the information.
Yes, it's all about awareness, baby. Shout out to all the people showing love. Don't forget to download the Network of Awareness on your favorite podcast listening platform. Download it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. If you want an episode that you want a specific topic to be discussed, you want me to bring out some information, send me an email at ORRA@networkofawareness.com or leave an inquiry at networkofawareness.com. Let's go.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Make me a nightmare for people like you.
I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down. Just cause you like the way another nigga thought.
Yeah, this is for all the real MCs that took time to build their skill sets, that respect this thing called lyricism and hip hop, that truly give their praise to the Most High. Let's go. Shout outs to all my listeners out in Canada, India, the UK, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Ireland, Japan. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, Russia, Israel, Panama. Shout out to the brothers and sisters in Spain. Shout out to everybody listening from the Philippines. We got more episodes coming from the series called Conspiracy is Not a Theory. Let's go. We got more episodes of Legacy of Lies, the Truth Seeker series, Synthetic People series, and series that you've yet to hear come out. Let's go. And speaking of conspiracies and theories, let's play Conspiracy by Brother Rico Moss. Let's go.
Yeah.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
Make sure every day you do your own research, you seek out the truth, you stand in your truth no matter what. Yeah. Shalom. Let's get it. Use your own mind, be your own man. Use your third eye, gotta take a stand. Always walk by faith, fuck man what they say. Just always be you. Keep on seeking. I had no choice, I had to make it. All them chances I kept taking on myself. All within, hide yourself, I channel him. Yahweh guiding me, how can I lose these niggas fools? Taking COVID jabs, I see right past the hokey doke. This shit, the joke, just keep your third eye woke. Cause they will try to sleep you, but my vibration rising higher. Gonna fly, the wings is spreading. Now I'm flying, government spying. They trying to kill you off, one by one. Agenda 21, 22, they keep hiding the truth. Open up your eyes, stand in your truth.
Open up your eyes.
Keep on being you. Open up your eyes. Stand in your truth. Open up your eyes. Just keep on being you. Use your own mind. Be your own man. Use your third eye.
Always take a stand.
Always walk by faith. Fuck man what they say. Just always be you.
Keep on seeking truth, growing, awaken, vibration, raising, I'm flowing, toxic energy, I'm shedding, seeing everything with my third eye. You can't relate if you sleep, you a sheep, you can't see what's going on in front of you. You're hypnotized by the TV. The shit getting crazy, pushing agendas. The truth is constantly hitting you, forbidden from waking up anybody. When you do, they silence it. Only way to get ahead is sell your soul. Once you jump down the rabbit hole, can't turn back. Open up your eyes, stand in your truth. Open up your eyes, keep on being you. Open up your eyes, stand in your truth. Open up your eyes, just keep on being you. Use your own mind, be your own man. Use your third eye, gotta take a stand. Always walk by faith, fuck man what they say. Just always be you, keep on seeking truth. Use your own mind, be your own man. Use your third eye, gotta take a stand. Always walk by faith, fuck man what they say. Just always be you, keep on seeking truth.
Life is an unpredictable and amazing journey. Our ever-changing conditions within today's society and the constant new trends influencing cultures can become overwhelming, to say the least. But no worries. The Network of Awareness podcast radio show brings peace of mind in these challenging times. Follow us on your favorite podcast listening app and join our community of Network of Awareness at networkofawareness.com. Let's go. So for the people that tune in, there's going to be some changes. I'm going back to the original schedule that I first started out with when I started the Network of Awareness, which is I'm going to start doing live broadcasts weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm also going to be putting out the pre-recorded shows when I don't have time to do a live show. You'll be getting the pre-recorded shows distributed at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So especially my people that are coming home on the West Coast from work, you'll now be able to get to listen to me in that, prime time traffic, especially my people's out in California when you're stuck on the LAX for like 5 hours on your way back home. You get to listen to the Network of Awareness. So things have changed up with my schedule, new responsibilities that I've taken on, and giving all praises to the Most High that I've gotten these blessings to help me, progress financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, and all those islies, that the Most High gives. Um, Another thing I wanted to mention is I want to give a shout outs to a couple of countries here and places around the world that have definitely come onto the scene. Some of them are old. You heard me mention them during the music broadcasting. But just gotta give, props where props are due, because there's people taking time out of their day, not even just to listen, but actually to download the show. So keep it coming. And I'm glad to see Australia's back. So whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm glad that the country of Australia is listening again, because I was shadow banned and probably still am in certain places, but I was completely cut off from Australia. But I guess because I'm not talking about the science appliance anymore, because I will, but I'm gonna do when I talk about the science appliance, the AK Def Stick, the whammy jammy, and all of that stuff. I'm gonna be doing that on my TV show. So when I talk about that on my TV show, if you want to subscribe to that, I'm not going to be calling it the science appliance. I'm gonna call it by the V word, right? That we can't say on here, but it rhymes with Francine. So when I start talking about that, that's going to be on my TV show, and I'm going to go all out, just like I first did, being unaware of the backlash that I would get on these public platforms. Because even though I pay for it, it ain't so damn private. It's definitely public. But the good thing about TV is that it is private. That's why it's subscription based, and I can say whatever the hell I want to say, because I'll be operating off of private servers instead of these public servers that consider themselves to be private. But we know that Viacom and all these major networks own them. So they're only gonna let what needs to be, what they want people to hear, get out there, right? and they do it by shadow banning and all that. But that's how we're going to circumvent that. But we're still going to speak truth on here, especially on the podcast end. I can't say that for YouTube because I have to be, one of the reasons why my YouTube channel hasn't been canceled is because I've been very careful on what I talk about and how I talk about it. But who wants to live their life like that when it comes to speaking truth? The truth can only be given in its absolute form of what it is. It can't be sugar-coated. You know what I mean? That's why I haven't talked about some of these so-called controversial topics or sensitive topics because I'm saving that. I'm saving that for the damn TV channel. Now, let's give a shout outs to Cyprus, right? Bangladesh. Thank you for supporting Bangladesh. Angola. My brother went to Angola about 7 years ago. He had a pretty good time over there. Very poor country, but I'm glad that brothers and sisters are tuning in over there. All right. I hope things are a lot better than it was, 7 to 10 years ago over there. Shout outs to Taiwan, right? Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Spain. Spain's been rocking with me for a long time. Vietnam, Togo, Italy, Algeria, Brazil. Brazil been with us for a minute. Australia, right? Like I mentioned, France, Peru, Pakistan, Kenya, right? Shout out to my brothers and sisters in Africa, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Canada, and India, and of course the UK. The UK, India, and Canada actually were the first people supporting the network of awareness before the United States. Isn't that interesting? Now let's go to the United States, who is the biggest market share for this network. We got Georgia, right? Shout outs to the BOCC out in Georgia and in Florida, right? Where I broadcast. I broadcast out of the Tampa Bay area in St. Petersburg, Florida. So shout outs to everybody out here in Florida. Thank you for all the support. Yeah, always showing a lot of support. Keep the downloads coming. Shout outs to the brothers and sisters in New York, which is where I was born and raised. Shout outs to the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and all over the state of New York, right? Rockland, Westchester, Orange, Syracuse, Buffalo, all of that. Shout outs to Oklahoma, brother Yazun. Shout outs to Missouri. All right. Shout outs to Texas, Alabama, California, Michigan, Tennessee, Connecticut. And even though I got a lot of haters in Missouri, I know that the people that are listening in for the most part are people that really love and appreciate this network. I know it's not the haters. There's probably a few haters in these numbers, but it's mostly people that are now supporting from Missouri. Because I got some strong hate, but keep it coming. Love y'all too. But for the people that are truly showing a lot of love in Missouri, appreciate y'all. Keep it coming. Tennessee, Michigan, California, of course, Alabama. Shout outs to Brother Kakam and Sister Ahmad. We got, of course, the brothers and sisters out in Connecticut, Oklahoma, North Carolina. Shout outs to all the peoples out in North Carolina. Appreciate it. Pennsylvania, Washington. I got a lot of family in Pennsylvania. Washington, Louisiana. Louisiana's listening, huh? Wow. And I know that's not, I know those are people that support the show. I think we got rid of the riffraff and the demonic energy that was coming from Louisiana. Shout outs to South Carolina, Virginia, New Jersey, Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Ohio, Wisconsin, Colorado, Arizona, Oregon, and everybody else. We got a lot of others that are not listed that have been downloading the show in great numbers. So whoever you are, I greatly appreciate, because I've never seen numbers like this hit the boards like I've been seeing in the past week. It is quite amazing. And I greatly appreciate you wherever you are downloading the show. And it's not just this show. There's been an increase in other places downloading the podcast, The Council on Christ Relations. If anybody is interested in listening to classes and presentations on the scriptures through the King James Bible version, as well as the Apocrypha, definitely tune in to the Council on Christ Relations. There's a lot of wisdom that's being given in the presentations and episodes that those brothers and sisters are giving on the Council on Christ Relations. All right. So, of course, we always got to give praise to that which is our great creator, the most high. And with that being said, everybody, one thing else that before I forget, as far as like showing gratitude and appreciation, I want to give a shout outs to Brother Samak, also known as Brother Kenneth. And shout outs to Sister Nama, man. I'm glad you tuned in, sister. I'm glad you got the notification on YouTube. So thank you for listening in. Really do appreciate you. I was thinking about you and you hit it up right there. Yes, all praises to the Most High. So a lot of good things coming for season 6, right? So let me reiterate: season 6 is the light that's within you and all around you. Because one thing that I'm going to focus on moving forward is focusing on our spiritual power and where it comes from. Because one thing I'm noticing is that there's a lot of madness going on in the world, as it has been. And it's been going on for forever. But things are coming down the line. But one thing I'm going to focus on is not so much of all the bad things. Like, I will continue to present the lies so we could better understand the truth. But I'm not going to put a lot of energy into that, because what the Most High is compelling me to do is that we got to focus on what's right. We got to focus on what's good, and we got to expound on that. I heard a presentation about the reason why narcissistic people get revered so much and they get so much recognition, especially in the corporate America. People that are very ruthless, like the ruthless part of humanity is the part of humanity that gets a lot of sensationalized awareness, in the sense that everybody's paying attention to the people that are ruthless. Those are the people that are considered to be powerful. But in actuality, there's the people that are empathetic, that are righteous, compassionate, that are just good people. We got to start giving, our attention and really being in awe of those people. Because the moment we start doing more of that, we're going to see a great, great awakening transform this planet and transform the way people move and do things and recognize, especially when it comes to the younger generation. So just keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, we could focus on a lot of bad things, but if we put our attention to that, we're not really being abundantly aware. We got to be abundantly aware of the light that's within us and all around us. So that's my spiel and podcast for today. I hope that it gave you great substance on this Wisdom Wednesday. And with that being said, I want to say peace, love, and light. And until we meet again, I'll probably do another broadcast tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just bringing out some more truth. I'm going to have some more interviews coming into season 6 and coming into the month of July. I'm going to start booking interviews again. I took a little break from interviewing people. I got a shitload of people waiting for me to reach out to them and schedule dates and times. So we're going to have an endless amount of interviews for the rest of the year of 2023 and going into the new year. So, like I said, with that being said, peace, love, and light again, brothers and sisters. Thank you for supporting the network of awareness. And I am out of here. Let's go.